Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Salakaya Chakkhurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavaram Cha रूपम साग्रजातं सगनसि रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदं सगणलितां श्री विशाखं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यः वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna, today we are going to discuss very important verses from Bhagavatam. This is 420 and 25, Canto 4, chapter 20, text 25. It's a beautiful verses spoken by it's a prayer by Prithu Maharaj. So very nice verses. Prithu Maharaj, the Supreme Lord Krishna. So this verse is said as uttamaśloka mahan-mukha-cyuto bhavat-padāmbhoja-sudhā kaṇānilaḥ smṛtiṁ punar vismṛta-tattva-vartmanāṁ kuyogināṁ na vitaraty alaṁ varaiḥ. So this verse says that, my dear Lord, you are glorified by selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like a saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouth of great devotee carries the aroma of saffron dust, your lotus feet, saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers its eternal relationship with you. Devotee thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. What a benediction it is. What a wonderful benediction. This should be the standard of all devotees to pray to the Lord, that the opportunity to hear from a great devotee. That is the sum and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. To hear from a pure devotee. Why it is important? Because the transcendental vibration from the mouth of a pure devotee is so powerful, so potent, that it can revive the living entity memory of his eternal relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the most important thing. Why we need a pure devotee? There is a pure devotees. The word emanating from the pure devotee is so powerful. Mahan-mukha-cyuto. From a pure devotee, the Achyuta, the Krishna Katha is so potent, so powerful, it revives our eternal relationship with Lord. Prabhupada is writing very nice, in our material existence under the influence of illusory Maya, we have almost forgotten our eternal relationship with Lord. Exactly like a man sleeping very deeply who forgets his duty. Kind of spiritual amnesia. Amnesia is a disease when you forgot temporarily. So in material existence, or Maya means forgetfulness of our relationship with God. So in everyone in this material existence, we are forgetful. We have forgotten our relationship with the Lord. Everybody is now bewildered by Maya. Everybody thinking that I am this body, and this is my permanent home. This material existence is my permanent home. This is my body. All the paraphernalia of the bodily relationship is mine. So we are now in a very state of spiritual amnesia or forgetful conditions. As a result, we have been suffering. It is stated that, very nice verse, that hitvatma maya rachita grihapatya swistriya tomo visanti anichanta vasudeva param-mukha. So in our present conditioning stage, we have turned away from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, being under the spell of Lord's illusory energy, are eventually forced to give up my so-called homes. So this is the thing that, so the problem is that we have turned away from the Lord because of forgetfulness. Maya means forgetfulness. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhagavancha kare nikatastha maya tare jhapatiya dhare. When we forget our relationship with Lord, then Maya will capture him and cover our intelligence, covered our knowledge that we have an eternal relationship with Lord. How he covered also it is given that that how he is covered. Yaha samohitam jivam atmanam trigunatmakam. How he covered Maya due to this external energy, living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, think himself as a material product, thus undergoes the reaction of material media. So we have forgotten. We are thinking that I am this body, and this is I and me, I and mine platform. This is my wife, my children. This is called Maya. He says that Gruhaketra Sutattva Bitair Janasya Moham Aham Mam Mameti. So how the illusion comes when we forget the Supreme Lord, then we are thinking that this is my body. The attraction between male female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception which ties together the hearts of male and female, one became attracted to this body, home, property, children, relative, and wealth. In this way, increases the life illusion, think in terms of I and mine. So we are thinking that in terms of I and mine. We have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. All other relationship is just temporary. But we are thinking as a permanent. So as a result, we are in anxiety. We are fallen, we are suffering. We are suffering in this material world. Prahlad Maharaj has said that because we are accepting something unreal as a real, therefore we are in a very embarrassing condition. We are in a very precarious condition where we are fallen into a dark well where there is no water and only suffering, simply on account of forgetting our relationship. Tasadumanya asuravarya dehinam sada samudigna diyam asadagrahat hitvatma patam griham andakupam vanam gatayad harim asrayat. So here it is said that, O best of the Asura, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body, temporary household is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. So this is the condition of material existence due to our forgetfulness of the Krishna. Forgetful our relationship, eternal relationship with Lord. Therefore we are suffering. Krishna bhuliya anadikal. He says that in these verses. Bhakti Vinod Thakur also spoke, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also spoke this one. Krishna bhuli se jiva anadi bahirmukha ateva mayatare de sansara dukha. So forgetting Krishna's living entity has been attracted by external feature from the time immemorial. Therefore, illusory energy Maya gives him all kinds of misery in his material existence. Anadi. Bhakti Vinod Thakur say also, Anadi. Since time immemorial, we have been suffering, forgetting Krishna. Now, very important that supposing a person is sleeping, how to wake up? Only way to wake up by alarm clock or by hearing process. Ear is very, very important. Ear is the first sense that activated in the womb of the mother at 3 months. The first sense to come begins. And the last sense to go at the time of death, when a whole part of the body disoriented, only the ear is activated. Therefore, it says, Ante Narayana Smriti. The time of death, one should remember or hear the Supreme Lord. So, therefore, it is said that relationship, that eternal relationship can be revived by this transcendental sound vibration, not ordinary sound vibration. Because this is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunaya Savanadi Suddha Chite Karye Udaya. So pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the heart of the living entity. So our relationship is already there, but it is forgotten or dormant. Just like a sun is there, sometimes it is cloud, covered by the cloud. Similarly, we have been covered by the cloud of Maya. So we have forgotten, or it is dormant. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. So this is very important. Sravanadi Suddha Chite, a process of hearing, that forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, our relationship with Supreme Lord, can be revived. And that hearing has to be bona fide. That is the real topics. Important of hearing from a pure devotees. Because there is a potency in the pure devotee. Why the potency? That is stated here in this verse, that in this beautiful verse, yes sang labda nijavirya vaibhavam tirtham muhu sampristam hi manasam. So in this verse it is stated that by associating with person whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda is all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities, soon come to understand them. The activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing them, one immediately associates with Lord. For a person who constantly and very eagerly hears the narration of the Lord's powerful activity, absolute truth, the personality of Godhead in the form of sound vibration, enter within the heart, cleanses it all the contamination. On the other hand, although bathing in Ganges, diminishing the bodily contamination, infection, this process of visiting holy place can clean the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is not the same man who will not associate with devotees so quickly to quickly perfect his life? This is a very important verses. It say that this is some and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. Krishna consciousness movement means to give opportunity to everyone to hear from a pure devotee. Because pure devotees, you say that in our main verses in 5, this particle, you say that very nicely, that why the pure devotees, pure devotee is very important, because it is very, very nice. It is say that the saffron particles. So Lord, when we hear from a pure devotee, is his pure devotee's word, the voice, the vibration, transcendental vibration is compared to very, very powerful. Why it is powerful? Because it compares to fragrance of the saffron dust from the lotus feet. That means it carries this saffron particle from the Lord's lotus feet. It is very powerful. It is very penetrating. When it enters into the ear, it transforms the consciousness. That is whole idea. Padāmbhoja-sudhā kaṇānilaḥ. The fragrance of the saffron dust of the lotus feet. Just like Prabhupada. Prabhupada went to the West, where the America is the headquarters of Maya. They do not know anything about ABC, about Krishna consciousness. But simply by hearing they awakening their bhakti. Because the pure devotee's voice is awakening voice, awakening our relationship, awakening our remembrance of our eternal relationship with Krishna, awakening our Krishna consciousness, awakening our original consciousness. Therefore, why awakening? Because padāmbhoja-sudhā kaṇānilaḥ. So it is very penetrating because it is compared to the fragrance of the saffron dust of the lotus feet. It carries the aroma. It carries the aroma of the saffron dust from the lotus feet. Therefore, it is more subtle, more powerful, more penetrating, more transformating, just not informative. Most of the people remain, remain unaware of this process of Krishna consciousness because they have not got a chance to hear from a pure devotee. And those who have not had, even the devotee circle, they remain neophyte if they do not hear regularly. Nasta prayesu abhadresu nittam bhagavata sevaya. They should hear from Bhagavata. So therefore, very, very important to hear from a pure devotees. Prabhupada lecture, Prabhupada books also recorded chanting, we can hear, reading also hearing the lecture. In this purport also Prabhupada said that in the end, that how important that smṛtiṁ sokatha Krishna punya sravana kirtan hudantostani avadrani vidunati shreyasada. By hearing from the pure devotee, all the hudantostani avadrani means washes all kind of dirty thing. It will washes away. Jeta darpana marjanam. So it is said that nasta prayasu abhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Therefore, it is recommended that regularly you should hear Bhagavatam or Krishna Katha, Hari Katha from a pure devotee. Yaha Bhagavata pada Vaishnavara sthane ekanta ashraya kari Chaitanya charane. Yaha Bhagavata pada. You go to, you hear Bhagavatam from a Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada say that this is the sum and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. Once we hear about the Lord, the success is assured. One becomes easily successful. That is the perfection. Because on account of impurity in the heart, we are suffering. We are bound in this material existence since time immemorial, transmigrating from one body to another body. So Krishna consciousness is a process of purification of the heart. That purification is only feasible by hearing from a pure devotee. Therefore, it is said that nigama kalpataru galitam phalam sukhamukhat amruta darbya samjutam pibatam bhagavatam rasam malayam muhur aha rasika bhuvibhav. Know, O thoughtful men, that Srimad Bhagavatam is mature fruit of the tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this nectarian fruit is all the more relisable by liberators. So, because it is emanated from Sukadeva Goswami, the Bhagavatam is more relisable. So, anything which is emanating from the devotees, pure devotee, that is more relisable and gives very much pleasing to the heart and very purifying, transformating effect. It is supported by these other verses, very important verses. Satang prasangam mamavira sambinda bhavanti hitkanna rasayana katha tajjasunadasu apavarga vartamani sadharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. In the association of pure devotee, discussion of the pastime activity of Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing, satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter is freed and his attraction becomes fixed, then real devotional service. Therefore, there is a very important of hearing from Prabhupada. He is our spiritual master. We should first hear from Prabhupada, is a pure devotee. That is transforming. Then you can hear from any other devotee, doesn't matter who is in the line of Prabhupada, who is speaking as it is. But first Prabhupada. Without hearing Prabhupada books, without reading Prabhupada books, one cannot become fixed up. One cannot advance in Krishna consciousness because it has got potent transformation. So whatever we are discussing now on Prabhupada ground, not any from my own opinion or personal proposition statement or my own conception, conviction, own theory, own speculation, no, own conjecture. It is, we are discussing about Prabhupada, purport Prabhupada, translation Prabhupada. So therefore, we should hear from Prabhupada. And due to lack sufficient hearing, most of the devotee remain neophyte state. Therefore, Prabhupada says that we can hire a cook, we can hire a pujari, but we cannot hire a preacher. A preacher means one should hear sufficiently. Without hearing sufficiently, one cannot preach Krishna consciousness. That is kaitava. Nowadays, so many Instagrammers, simply Instagram, very, very cheap class of even very neophyte level philosophy, but still they get so much like, appreciation, accolade. This is called Instagrammer. We are not Instagrammer, we are preacher. We preach as it is, Prabhupada Srimad Bhagavatam. We do not compromise to accommodate the public. Oh, these people do not know, let me compromise, dilute the philosophy or give some, easy philosophy, easy concept. No. First and foremost thing, some in substances is to associate with a pure devotee and hear from him. Adu Guruve Ashrayam. Then you should hear from him. That is the sum and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. That will fix, that will give us real devotion. That will give us, then one can become advanced on the path of liberation. Is freed, his attraction becomes fixed, real devotion, devotional service. It's not a cheap class thing. We cannot hear randomly here and there, then we try to advance, cannot. We have to hear from the pure devotees. Tasmad Guru Prapadyante Shreya Uttamam. It is stated that in these beautiful verses by Karavajana, Navajogendra to Nimi Maharaj. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyate Jigyansu Shreya Uttamam Sabde Pare Sanisnantam. Sabda Pare Sanisnantam. Brahmani Upasrayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master, take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of scripture by deliberation, able to convince others this conclusion. Such great personality who have taken shelter of supreme personality, supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be a bona fide spiritual master. So this is a bona fide spiritual master who also had from his acharya. Samitprani Shrotiyam Brahmanistam. Samitprani Shrotiyam. Shrota, Shrotiyam means hearing. Hearing is very important. That to bona fide hearing is very, very important. This is stated that this verse, that Puthu Maharaj, the previous verses, he is saying that when he was praying, my dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of nectarine beverage of a lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million of years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of a lotus feet from the mouth of your pure devotees. So first of all, we should desire to hear. He is now praying, please give me benediction of 1,000 millions of years, just like Rupa Goswami is praying, I want millions of tongues to chant. Millions of years. We have got 2 years, but we have no interest. We want to speak, we want to become an Instagrammer, but we do not want to hear. We have 2 noses, 1 mouth, we should hear twice, then what we speak. We have no interest. He wants millions of years, but our ears is like compared to snake holes. Snake holes is useless because you are hearing all mundane thing. Then ears are useless. Real use of ears to hear Krishna Katha. That is stated in this verse, beautiful. That ear is meant to hear Krishna Katha from a pure devotee. Bile bataru karma, bila bataru krama vikramane, na smṛtiṁ kanna pute narasyaha. One who has not listened to the message about the prowess and marvelous act of the personality of Godhead, has not sung or chanted loudly worthy songs about the Lord, is to be considered to the possessors as ear holes like the holes of snakes, and a tongue like a tongue of frog. So it is compared to be ear hole. Ear hole is a snake hole. Snake hole is nobody goes to snake hole, useless. Tongue also is like a frog tongue. Frog tongue means we are inviting death. The ear and tongue, if it is not utilized properly, it is inviting death. You're talking nonsense, hearing nonsense. We are dragged by the Jamaraj, death. Ayur harati by punsa. It is stated that every sunrise we are dragged towards death because we are not utilizing our ears and mouth properly. Ka uttamaśloka vartaya. Without hearing the uttamaśloka, the Lord is called uttamaśloka because he is glorified by the choicest word. Uttama means udgatatama, transcendental word. Tama means the material word. Udgata means beyond. It's not in the jurisdiction. The word is beyond, transcendental word. He is glorified with transcendental word. So therefore, the Putti Maharaj is telling, I want millions of years to hear. Millions of years so that I can hear from the pure devotees. How it is so powerful, hearing from a pure devotees. Therefore, it is stated in this beautiful verses, today's verse, that one should hear from the pure devotees. Prabhupada writing a very beautiful purport that by reviving, it will revive our forgetfulness, spiritual amnesia, which is covered by sleeping under the influence of Maya. We must get up from this slumber. Jeev jago, gora chand bole. Jeev jago, wake up from this slumber, engage in the right service. From thus we can properly utilize the facility of this human form of life. As expressed in a song by Thakur Bhakti Vinod, Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev jago, Jeev jago. Lord asks every sleeping living entity to get up and engage in devotional service so that his mission in this human form of life may be fulfilled. This awakening voice comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. This is called awakening voice. So the devotees, pure devotee voice is awakening. Everybody is very much attached to material things, sense gratification. These are natural things. The natural. By birth we are inclined to this all sense gratification. We do not want. We have come here the purpose of enjoying senses separately from the Lord. So this is our natural things in material existence. But that natural to every living entity because they are attached to the Maya. But the awakening voice comes through the pure devotee will transform the heart, will purify the heart, will bring us, make us to get up from a sleeping state. Conditioning state is called sleeping state. They're sleeping. A pure devotee always engaged in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet. Therefore, he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particle that is tuned over the lotus feet of the Lord. See, very important point. Why the pure devotee's word is so potent? He says that because the pure devotee always engaged in the service of the Krishna, always fully surrendering, taking shelter of his lotus feet. Therefore, he has a direct connect with the saffron mercy particle that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. That mercy particles. That's the prasada, bhagavat prasada. the mercy particle. And although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of the material sky, the voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particle of the saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is what they carry the power of the Lord. Because pure devotee always takes shelter of the Lord. When they speak, their voice is not from the material sky. Although apparently, outwardly, it is a material voice, but it is spiritually powerful. It touches the particle of the saffron particles of the saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of pure devotee, immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord. Although up until that moment he had forgotten everything. So he has forgotten his relationship, spiritual amnesia. But as soon as he hears, then it awakening. Sarvanadi Shuddha Chitte Karya. By hearing process from a pure mouth of a pure devotee, that awakening process. And we have practically seen how Prabhupada made all the happy to hippie, all the beefeater to Krishna consciousness, Krishna devotees. That is a very evident, practical evidence how Prabhupada transformed the hippies, transformed all these people, Western people particularly, everybody actually. Because the voice is so powerful, so potent, simply by hearing from a pure devotee, one can awaken from the slumber of material existence. For a conditioned soul, therefore, it is very important to hear from the mouth of pure devotee, who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, without any material desire, speculative knowledge, or contamination of the modes of material nature. Every one of us is kujogi because we have engaged in the service of this material world. We are serving the dog, not the God. Therefore, we are called kujogi, not sujogi. Forgetting our eternal relationship with the Lord. Yogi means connective, who connect. We are connecting very bad things, temporary things, material world. Therefore, we are called kujogi. It is our duty to rise from kujogi platform to become sujogi, perfect mystic. The process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended in all Vedic scripture, especially Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One may stay in his position of life, it doesn't matter what it is. But if one hears from the mouth of a pure devotee, he gradually comes to the understanding of his relationship with the Lord, thus engage in his loving service, and his life becomes completely perfect. Therefore, this process of hearing from mouth of a pure devotee is very important for making progress in the line of spiritual understanding. How important it is to hear. That is the sum and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. Wherever you are, whatever the social position, it doesn't matter. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, doesn't matter. Wherever you are, sthane sthita sutigatam, tanu mano vir. स्थाने स्थित ज्ञान प्रयासोदपास्य जीवंति सनोदपास्य नमन्त एव जीवंति सन्मुखरितां भवदीय वार्तां स्थाने स्थित श्रुतिगतां तनुवन मनोवीर ये प्रयास जीत जीतोपि त्रैलोक्यम. Very important verse Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted, Ramananda Rai quoted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So those who and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to this. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social position, throw away the process of speculative knowledge with their body, words, mind, BMW, body, word, mind, BMW, body, mind, word. Offer all respect to description of your personalities and activity, dedicating their life to this narration, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees. Say again, pure devotees. Certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquered by anyone within the three worlds. See, very, very important. Although Lord is very difficult to conquer. Many yogis are doing tapasya for millions of millions. Panthastu koti satavachara sampragame, vayu rathapi manasamuni. He cannot be conquered. But simply by wherever you are positioned, it doesn't matter you are a grahastha, you are vanaprastha, you are sannyasa, anywhere. or Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, simply by giving oral reception, by hearing from a pure devotee. Even a Mlecha, Chandala, Javana, the American, this Javanas, Prabhupada went to America, the headquarters of Maya, the Javanas are there, beefeater. They were become pure devotee of Krishna. They were become devotees of Krishna. So how it is possible? Because the potency of the hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee, that is transforming. That is very potent, very powerful, very powerful. Bhava-sudhā, they say that, Parikshit Maharaj say that nirvitate se rupagiya manad bhava-sudhā sutta mano viramant ko uttamaśloke gunānubādam puman virajyata vinapasudhanāt. Glorification Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system, that it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is released by those no longer interested in false and temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Description of the Lord are the right medicine for conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? So they are very important. This glorification should be always heard from a disciplic succession parampara, from a acharya, pure devotee coming from a authentic. Otherwise, a Vaishnava cannot, or anybody who is speaking from non-sampradaya, that is not transformative, that is not potent, that is not bona fide, that is not from the authority. That will not give you the actual result. That will not touch the particle of the saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. No. It is stated that avaishnava mukha-cyuto. So those who are avaishnava or apasampradaya, sampradaya vina mantra nispala, we cannot get any benefit. Chitraketu was a great devotee Mahatma. If one hears this history of Chitraketu from a pure devotee, the listener also is freed from the conditional life of material existence. Here very nice purport has been given by Śrīla Prabhupāda. So Prabhupada said that the historical incident in the Purana, such as the history of Chitraketu explained in the Bhagavad Purana, are sometimes misunderstood by outsider or non-devotee. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami advised that history of Chitraketu be heard from a devotee. Anything about devotional service or the characteristic of the Lord and the devotee must be heard from a devotee, not from a professional reciter. This advice here in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu secretary also advised that once one learn the history of Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee, Iha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnava Sthane. One should not hear the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam from professional reciter, or else they will not be effective. Quoting from Padma Purana, Sri Sanatana Goswami has strictly forbidden us to hear about the activity of the Lord and the devotee from the mouth of non-devotee. So Sanatana Goswami quoted from Padma Purana, Avaishnava mukhad-girnam putam harikatham sarvanam naiva kartavyam sarpochishta jathapaya. One should not hear anything about Krishna from a non-Vaishnava. Milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effect. Similarly, talks about Krishna given by a non-Vaishnava are also poisonous. One must be a bona fide devotee, then he can preach and impress devotional service upon his listener. Unless one is a bona fide devotee, he cannot preach and impress devotional service upon his listener. Therefore, one should hear from a pure devotee. That is very essential. That is very imperative for our spiritual progress. Therefore, it is said that, a very nice verse from Bhagavatam, that real process of devotional service, real process of understanding the Vedic knowledge is not a recreation. No, one cannot hear from Tom, Dick and Harry. One cannot hear from Panwala, So one should hear from the pure devotees. So it is stated that here, Tasadharana munaya jnana vairagya juktaya paschanti atmani cha atmanam bhaktya sutagrihitya. So the seriously inquisitive student or sage will well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realize that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from Vedanta Sutra. So, by hearing Vedanta Sutra means hearing from a pure devotee. So here it is said that, as stated in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, which is backed by full knowledge and detachment from material association. We have already discussed the point that devotional service followed by knowledge and detachment from material association. So here Prabhupada is writing that a third class devotee therefore has to receive the instruction of devotional service from authoritative source of Bhagavad. Number one Bhagavad is the established personality of devotee, and other Bhagavad is the message of Godhead. Third class devotee therefore has to go to the personality devotee in order to learn the instruction of the devotional service. Such a personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood by business of Bhagavatam. Such a devotee must be a representative of Sukadeva Goswami, like Sutta Goswami, must preach the cult of devotional service for the all-round benefit of all people. A neophyte devotee has a very little taste for hearing from the authority. Such a neophyte devotee makes a show of hearing from a professional man to satisfy his sense. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing. So one should be very careful about the faulty process. Holy message of Godhead is inculcated in Bhagavad Gita or in Srimad Bhagavatam are undoubtedly transcendental subjects. But even though they are such a transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man who spoils them as serpents spoil the milk simply by touch of his tongue. And sincere devotee must therefore prepare to hear Vedic literature like Upanishad, Vedanta, and other literature read by the previous authority or Goswami for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literature, one cannot make actual progress. Without hearing and following the instruction that the show of devotional service become worthless, therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principle of Shruti, Smriti, Purana and Pancharatri authority, the make show of devotional service should at once be rejected. An authorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from Vedic literature, one can see all pervading localized aspect of personality of Godhead within his own self constantly. This is called samadhi. So that is very important for Prabhupada says that one should hear properly from an authorized source. Then only one can progress. Otherwise, one cannot progress in bhakti. Therefore, how important is hearing Prabhupada every day, every day. Therefore, it says that neophyte, they make a mistake. They hear randomly here and there, but they do not hear Prabhupada books. Therefore, Prabhupada is writing, they cannot make progress. My dear highly glorified love, if one in the association of pure devotee hears even once the glories of your activity, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal. Give up the association of devotee. No intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. Perfection of chanting, hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. And Prabhupada is writing, the association of devotee Arya Sangama is the most important factor in this world. The word Arya refers to those who are advancing spiritually. In the history of the human race, see, Prabhupada is writing how important to hear from a pure devotees. Hearing is so important, and hearing from pure devotees is much more important. Prabhupada writing that others who are associating with them and hearing the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra from the lips of a pure devotee also becoming captivated by the transcendental vibration. Transcendental vibration are very much effective when chanted among Aryans. But even though one does not belong to Aryan family, he will become Vaishnava simply by hearing the mantra because the vibration has great influence over everyone. Maharaj put to point out that even the goddess of fortune, who is constant companion of Lord Narayana, especially wanted to hear about the Lord's glory to the association of gopis who are pure devotees. The goddess of fortune Lakshmi underwent severe austerity. How important. Once also one hears from the pure devotee, that has a lasting impact and effect. So therefore, one should every day, Prabhupada says that I have written so many books, you should read every day, discuss among the devotees, read my purport, read my translation. Otherwise, progress is stuck. We remain perpetually neophytes. Sometimes we can stagnate ourselves, and sometimes we can jeopardize our bhakti, our progress. Therefore, hearing from Prabhupada every day, day to day, is a very, very indispensable imperative for any devotee who wants to make progress in spiritual life. This is the sum and substances of Krishna consciousness movement. Thank you very much. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.